Hello everybody! If you are new to my channel, my name is Annie. I am a potter and an author, and we're gonna do what we do most of the time, kind of like a month wrap up, cozy vlog, chat about how February went, and kind of what I'm gonna be doing going into March. And the last video I recorded, the last cozy chat, I kind of talked about some systems I was trying to put into place to help me stay on task with doing both of my passions, writing and pottery. And so I do want to kind of go over and review that a little bit as well. We're just going to go over some things, see how February went. If I sound a little odd, it's because I am getting over being sick. I had like cold stomach, like the whole 9 yards. It's just been thing after thing after thing for about the last 2 weeks. So you know, when we go into February and we see that probably not as much progress was made, that's one of the reasons why. But yeah, so I have some lemon ginger tea today. Hopefully it'll kind of keep me capable of speaking and not sounding too odd and being able to be listenable anyways, right? But yeah, I'm kind of still getting over that cold, still got a little bit of congestion and stuff, so we're just gonna do the best we can, right? And yeah, let's get into how February went. It started off strong. It really did. I was able to get into the new market that I was in. The market's actually been going really well, which is surprising considering it's February, right? So I went into it not expecting a ton of sales or really even to break even with, you know, the space that I'm paying for and things like that, because, you know, generally I find like January, February, March tend to be slower months for me. But yeah, I wasn't really expecting much, but it turned out that it's been doing really well. I actually made even more than what I put into it, which was awesome. I'm actually running into the problem of having gotten sick, not being able to keep up with keeping my space stocked, which is a good thing, it is. I just feel a little bad that I'm kind of trying to play catch up and I've been struggling with it. Then we kind of ran into the problem of me, you know, having my wrist. It took a little longer than I wanted / thought it would to heal. I ended up getting sick once. Then I ended up like catching something else or catching it again. I don't know. And so like I've spent like the last like 2 weeks like sick and like struggling to like even be able to get any pottery done and stuff, which has kind of been a struggle. I haven't even been on the pottery wheel, which I really need to do. So like the beginning of February started out really strong and I was really excited about it, and not that I'm not so excited anymore, but it definitely has been more of a struggle at the end of February. I wasn't able to get a YouTube video done because I was super sick. I'm struggling to get this video done because I'm like still kind of getting over it. So that kind of went when I was sick. The good thing about kind of getting sick and stuff was that I could actually work on my book more. So I ended up getting most of the way through like my read through / fast edits that I was planning on doing on book 2. So I did get a lot of the way through that. I think I'm on like chapter 23 or something like that. And there's like a little over 30 chapters in the book so far. And so yeah, I was able to, you know, while I was sitting there in bed, you know, not really being able to do a whole lot, just sitting through and reading and, you know, adding notes to things I need to fix, making sure I'm following through with the, you know, threads that I've started and, you know, making sure that I'm not losing any of those and stuff like that. So I'm almost done with that. I'm planning on getting it done this week because I also was able to book an editor tentatively. Not officially booked, but we have kind of gone back and forth, done some like sample edits and things like that. And so she's actually going to be taking book 2 in August, probably towards the end of August, to do line edits on. And so I'm actually really glad about that. I found that I work better to deadlines. Like I need them. It helps me to know like how much time I have. I do think that'll give me enough time to do my own edits and do beta readers, do another round of edits, and then get it to her like the end of August. I am going a lot slower with this book as far as the edits go than I did with the last one. The last one I planned on publishing in August, and I ran into the problem of realizing that I'm more of like a fast drafter / take really long time on edits, and so I wanted to make sure that I gave myself enough time to do that. But with the editor thing, a lot of times you have to book them out so that you know that they have the time, the availability, and stuff like that. And as it wasn't, she didn't have any slots for like later in 2026. So August it is. August is what we're doing. And yeah, so I was able to do that. And so it wasn't like an unproductive month. It just wasn't a month that went super great for me or was as productive as I wanted it to be necessarily. So yeah, that's how February went. So now we're going to get into kind of like the stuff I was talking about how I did with having my own like systems in place and stuff. I talked about it a little bit in my first cozy chat, so if you haven't had a chance, watch that. But the next part, I'm gonna go over how my like analog systems worked, and if I found they worked better than the online ones, if I'm sticking to them, things like that. Just a quick recap, if you missed the other one. I have this travel notebook, and so it lets me put like multiple notebooks in one. And so this was kind of what I was going to be doing for my system, to kind of my analog system, to try to keep myself on track and keep myself where I needed to be at. Now, the caveat to that, of course, is that I did get super sick, and February did not go according to plan as far as illness and all that stuff is concerned. But I did kind of want to do a check-in. So I ended up actually using these quite a bit. I really liked having the thinking pages. It helped me a lot with like trying to figure out social media stuff, thinking through how I needed to go about doing things, kind of like the process and stuff, how long I thought things would take me. I was able to just throw it all down, kind of brain dump, kind of just, random thoughts, things like that. I started like a big old long list of social media stuff, so when I get stuck and I don't know what to post, I'll have like a list to refer back to. So yeah, so I'm really liking having the thinking pages and being able to like refer back to them when I need to. The big new like analog system that I'm using is of course this notebook. And so I did end up putting like tabs on it, and we've got like brain dump sections. I've got pottery to make, pottery to restock. I've got my word count tracker, so how many words I'm writing every day, and my edits tracker, so I can kind of figure that out. And I'm kind of spending more time in the edits tracker right now, obviously, because my book is kind of done with that initial draft, and so now I'm just kind of going through and rewriting things and fixing, plot holes and threads that are missing and things like that. Okay, so I was able to keep track of the edits I've been doing, and I have been keeping on top of that because of, what else are you going to do when you're not feeling very good, but, you're laying in bed and there's not really a whole lot other things you could do than, like, pick up a Kindle and read or do edits. So I was able to, use this to kind of keep track. It also, I did find that it was reminding me to do it. Because a lot of times, especially with me being sick and stuff, I was like, I can't really get anything done. I can't throw anything. I can't do any pottery. But then, like, if I was kind of going through here, looking at, like, what I had for the next week or whatever, I could, look through the back and be like, all right, I could get my edits done and stuff like that. So I do feel like it did kind of help keep me on track, at least with the writing. I also do think that it helped me with the overwhelm. With doing both the pottery and the writing, it's kind of been a little bit of a struggle to keep them balanced and to not feel like I just have too many things to do, especially being sick, right? And there was a whole bunch of days where I couldn't do anything, and so the overwhelm, was more in February because of that. And so it was like, I just don't, how do I get any of this done when I'm not feeling good, when I'm sick, when it's a struggle? And so one of the things that it did help me do is kind of organize my thoughts and feel less stressed and overwhelmed about it. because I was able to go through and kind of make a list of all of the pottery that I needed to get made. So I have like a list of pottery that needs to get made for the pottery that needs to get made for the throwback collection, the fairy tale throwback collection I'm doing. So I was able to kind of go, well, I've already gotten this one done, I need to work on this one needs to, you know, this one's in this process. So it's kind of helped to keep all that straight, which is cool. The thing that I really wasn't sure about and didn't know whether it would help, but I have found that it actually has helped, is the restock page. And so this is specifically for if I have events, or if, you know, the shops that I'm in. So, you know, from here, Scale House Market. So it has helped a lot because I can kind of put like what month I'm in, and then, you know, what they have, what they don't have, what I need to be focusing on making more of, what sold really well, things like that. I all have it in like, you know, here, all kind of broken down to kind of keep track of it. And that has made it really easy for me to like better keep track of what they do have and what I have and what still needs to get made. Especially with doing 2 stores, because before, when I was just doing from here, it was like, okay, well, anything that doesn't get put on the website or is in a show, I'm going to send it from here, right? But since I have added another store, now there's 2 stores that I have to think about what to stock or what, you know, to keep up with and stuff. And so I have found my restock page in here very, very helpful. And it's kind of helped me keep straight, like, oh, because I do a lot of the same glazes and things like that, especially for those stores, just because I know they sell well and things like that. So it's kind of helped me keep track of which ones they need, which ones I have, what I need to make more of and stuff like that, as far as like, here, this popular glaze or this popular shape, or, you know, and then also, you know, not sending too many doubles to one store or things like that. So I have found that like super helpful. I actually don't know how I would be able to keep both stores stocked without having something like this. So that was really cool. So overall, I haven't used it a ton, but I have found that in the times that I have used it, it has been super, super helpful. And again, some of that's just because I've been sick, I've been fighting, you know, my body in trying to get things done and it not cooperating with me. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this. I am actually really excited because I am getting over it. I know it probably doesn't sound like it, but I am coming to the end of being sick and stuff like that. And so I am kind of excited to be able to use it more and to be able to make more and things like that, because one of the things I realized is with selling so well at the new marketplace that I'm in, I need to make a lot more pottery. Yeah, and so I am going to have to be playing catch up for the next couple of weeks to make sure that I have enough stock. From here, my sales haven't been as much. I've mostly been selling books there for some reason. So that's not as big of a deal. But like with Scale House, for some reason, the pottery selling at Scale House. I actually do have a show coming up in April, which is like a Enchanted Market combination with a fair. I'm not sure exactly. There's 2 people who are running it and they're kind of doing it in tandem, but I did get into that show. I remember selling really well there in that particular venue, you know, for the Enchanted Market and stuff. So I am really excited to be back there. So I have that in April, and so like I really need to get on it to, 1, keep Scale House Market stocked, but then 2, also get this throwback collection done so that I have pieces for you know, the shows coming up and for the website and things like that, because I feel really bad with getting sick and stuff. But I have not been able to make a ton for the throwback collection and haven't really been able to keep a ton online. On the plus side though, I haven't really been selling a ton online, so there's that, right? So yeah, that's kind of how this has gone, and I found it really helpful, and I am keeping up with it, which is what I was curious. I was curious if doing it analog would help me keep up with it, because I don't keep up with the ones online, you know, like Asana and Notion and things like that. Like, I have so much different online tools and I just don't keep up with them. And so it was kind of cool to see that this was actually working, and then I was actually coming back to it, and it helps that it kind of just goes with me everywhere. So it's easy for me to just be like, oh yeah, write down what I did, write down what I need to make, you know, things like that. So that's kind of how that went. All right, so plans for March. So one of the big ones is that I am for sure going to have my editor booked. That's kind of one of my goals, is to make sure we have, you know, the time. You know, she has you pay 20% up front, so get that all done and kind of just be booked to have August be the day that I need to have my book done enough that I can do copy edits. Which, it sounds like it's a really far way, you know, away. It sounds like I have a lot of time. But, and I do have more than I did last year for sure. But I still know that, like, in order to, like, get it done and send it to beta readers, and then they get their feedback, and then do it again, and then kind of have, not like a final draft per se, but like as final as I can get it, and then hand it over to the copy editor. So that's one of the things. It's going to be me working through the edits for that, because I'm going to need to get, I plan on doing like a rewrite, edits, all that kind of stuff of the second book, and then sending it to beta readers. And I want to make sure that I have enough time to do that, and then still get it back and still do those edits and be able to get those done by August. So that's one of the things I'm going to be working on in March. The other thing is also just making a ton of pottery, obviously, because of being sick and stuff like that. I am very behind in keeping things stocked and making pieces, and so that is going to be one of the big things as well, is going to be just doing a ton of pottery. I didn't get into any events or anything in March, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, the next show I have is in April, so I do have a little bit of time to just make a ton of pottery. And yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be doing. I am still going to be doing, like, you know, the artist spotlights it from here. Scale House Market also does that, so on tomorrow, actually, I think. Scale House Market also does the thing where From Here does, where I have to do like 4 hours a month to kind of go in and do like an artist spotlight thing. So tomorrow, the next day, I'm going to be doing that. So I'm actually going to be taking my tiny wheel and just making tiny things. And it's really cool because the Scale House Market actually agreed to let me have my bookmarks available to buy. So people can actually see what those tiny pots end up turning into, which is what I do with the tiny pots that I make on the tiny wheel. And I usually turn them into little bookmark charms and stuff like that. Which kind of goes with the whole, you know, books and story theme, and it kind of goes in tandem with my novel, you know, and having that available to buy as well. So that's going to be like the next, I mean, it's not really like an event, it's like 4 hours. I'm going to be there doing some throwing and stuff like that. I'm hoping to get some of it recorded. I'm not sure what Scale House's rules and stuff are about doing spotlights and recording. I'm sure they're fine with it, but I will double check before I go ahead and say that I'm going to be recording. So that's kind of, you know, what I'm going to be doing, you know, this week. Which is not quite March, but we're getting there, right? Yeah, so that's kind of my plans for March. It's kind of how February went. I know this video probably isn't as long as they normally are, but I can tell I'm struggling to like keep my voice and stuff like that. So we're probably gonna call it there. The next video I'm hoping will be a vlog. Just me doing pottery, doing, you know, writing, you know, the usual things. Maybe a little bit of Scale House Market, which would be cool. Kind of doing the tiny wheel and stuff, because that's always fun to watch. And yeah, that's kind of what we got in the works, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.